the facts can often override the point when you're trying to make a point. And this happened yesterday, precisely. Did a video about Tottenham pretending to be skint, then acting very flush, basically. And as I was recording the video, it turned out that Daniel Levy was reversing the decision to furlough the staff and basically use the government's job retention scheme to pay for the lowest paid members of staff. Now, a lot of people were telling me, oh, he's reversed it. He's reversed it. It's all done now. But the point still stands. Tottenham was still trying it on. They were still pleading poverty and then turning down riches at the same time. That was my point. I looked at the statement from Daniel Levy, and Daniel Levy was, well, I think it actually says in the statement, due to pressure from our own fans and fans outside, we've decided to reverse the decision. Now, I'm not going to keep going on about this for months and months because it is done and it is over. But he's not doing it because he's generous of spirit. He's not doing it because initially he saw the difference between right and wrong. He's doing it because of public pressure. Pressure from the football community, from his own fans, from Tottenham fans who are saying this is the wrong thing to do. You're embarrassing us. We don't want our club running this way. And as he said in his own statement, the wider football family, the outside fans, rival fans were saying this is wrong. So they've reversed it in the same way that Liverpool did. Now, I guess we should be pleased that it's the right decision come to, but it's taken them a long time to get to that decision. It took a lot of pressure for it to happen. And that was really my point. They tried it on. Everyone said, oi, you're trying to cheat the system here. And then they said, oh, okay, hands up. Fair cop. We'll now fall into line and do what everybody else is doing. The point in here is very... There's a reason that Daniel Levy is being laid into. And it's because it's in keeping with the public perception of him. And it's the same with Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley has sat in front of a common select committee to answer about the way he treats his staff at Sports Direct. The suggestion is, or certainly the view within the football fan, looking at how Mike Ashley has run Sports Direct and looking at how Mike Ashley has run Newcastle, is that he's miserly. He's mean, he's tight-fisted. The same would apply to Daniel Levy. That Daniel Levy's reputation within the game is that he's a penny pincher. You cannot get away from that, and that's why this story is relevant. Now, there's a lot. Tottenham got a lot going for them. They've got some really good players. Harry Kane, who we discussed, Son, really good player, really good goalkeeper, Lucas Moura. They've got some fine, fantastic players. They've got a really, really good stadium. But there are a few people who were a little bit upset about what I said yesterday and thought it was some sort of West Ham Tottenham bias. Now, I can't even bother to justify myself on that one, and it was very much a case of, well, hold on, why don't you criticise your own owners? Well, I've done that many, many times, as a lot of you will know. And the fact that maybe we are swindling the taxpayer with our stadium. Yes. I don't know how many videos I've got to do about the stadium, but clearly I think the stadium is a bad deal for all concerned. So I'm certainly not going to sit here and champion that moving to the stadium was successful, that it was a good idea, or it represents value to the taxpayer. But they are different videos that have all been done before. I just think in this instance, Tottenham got it wrong. Newcastle got it wrong. The only difference between them and Liverpool is that Liverpool realised that they got it wrong very quickly and then reversed their decision. Let's be fair, it's taken Daniel Levy a good couple of weeks to get to this point and a lot of pressure indeed. My point is, I think his reputation was bad anyway. I think Tottenham's reputation is now in the mud. But I do think football as a whole has still not quite understood exactly what's happening. I was watching this morning something with Alan McAnally. Now, I think I switched on Sky Sports News. It's pretty much the only Sky channel available to me. And on it, he was being interviewed in his back garden. Now, you all know Alan McAnally. He is a regular Sky Sports pundit. And I looked at it, I thought, you really haven't learned anything. You really don't know what's going on. He was talking about Harry Kane having to go to Manchester United. He was talking about Harry Kane being worth 200 million. He was saying things like, well, Manchester United have to pay the 200 million. And I thought, well, for two ways. Morally, are you not understanding what's happening? I don't think any player is going to move for £200 million. If I see, if in 2 months, and I'm not particularly suggesting the situation in the country is going to get an awful lot better in 2 months, but if in 2 months a footballer moves for £200 million and then is whatever given wages of £250,000 a week or something like that, I would just think, has nobody learnt anything? It will be crass, it will be ridiculous, and it will be just so wrong. Football needs to take a reality check. Football needs to come down in terms of the money. It needs to start getting back to reality. The old adage that footballers have a short career so they should be paid, more money is ridiculous. Let's get this right. Footballers probably work for a third as long as anybody else. So that stands mathematically that maybe they should get 3 times more than anybody else. Because their career is about a third as long. You'd think they become professionals, they start getting paid at about 18, in their early 30s, they're done. But they're not. They're paid more in a week than you and I would earn in 3 or 4 or 5 years. It's not 3 times more. So it's not balanced, it's completely unbalanced. £200 million, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think it's really noticing what's happening at the moment. I should say some people I think have got it right. Chelsea. I'm not going to criticise Chelsea just for the sake of it. Chelsea have got it right. Let me tell you now, what Chelsea have done is Chelsea started giving money to the NHS straight away. As many of you will know, Chelsea have a hotel. When Ken Bates and Matthew Harding built Stamford Bridge, or rebuilt Stamford Bridge, is what it is, it has a stadium. That big stand you can see at the back, it has a hotel. Now, the hotel is there, I think it was originally built for fans to stay in and stuff like that. What Chelsea did almost immediately is they handed over that hotel to the NHS. Now, that's a really good thing to do. I didn't hear him shouting from the rooftops about it. Now, as somebody that lives in a house, I live in a house with children and my wife. When my wife goes to the hospital, I've got to be honest with you, I am majorly worried. We are majorly worried. We've got my boy has got heavy asthma as well. We're worried that when she goes to the hospital, she comes back, she brings the virus back to this house. It's a major worry. She has got her own worries. My wife goes into hospital. They know what they're getting into. The people who work in the hospital, the nurses and everybody else, they know what they're getting into, and they go and take the risk and they put their own health on the line. But they're not just putting their own health on the line, they're putting their family's health on the line by doing it as well. So one thing that is a real godsend, and we've got locally, our Premier Inn have done it. If they start to show any symptoms, then the NHS staff can go and stay somewhere and isolate themselves and keep away so they don't take it back to the family. That's what Chelsea have done. And they've done it from day one. Now, as I understand it, Tottenham have just done it as well. Which is the right thing to do. And it's a good thing to do. Late to the party, granted, but this makes the world of difference to people. And this is what is important at the moment. Not £200 footballers, £200 million footballers and things like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I do think football still hasn't got it yet. I was looking, somebody said on the same news, it's a miracle that nobody has gone into administration, that nobody's gone into liquidation yet. And then I started looking at it, and it's not a miracle at all. I don't think you can go into administration or liquidation yet, because you need a liquidator to do it. And there's no way that the clubs are open for people like that to go in there. I would imagine there are clubs that cannot afford to trade anymore. It's happened already. Whilst the Premier League is awash with money, whilst the Premier League gets television money, the lower leagues rely on fans going through the turnstiles, basically. When the season finishes, they struggle. They really struggle from the end of the season to the start of the next one because they have no income. A lot of these clubs are reliant on pre-season friendlies. On the Premier League club, maybe doing a friendly down at Wickham or something like that. That puts some really important money into the club's coffers and stuff like that. But my point is, there'll be clubs that are just not able to trade anymore. But actually, because of the lockdown, because of social distancing, the liquidator hasn't been able to come in. he's not been able to start the liquidation process, the moratorium or whatever it's called. Now, what happens then is a liquidator comes in, he sees his assets, and then he pays wages, he pays what's owed, he pays what debts are owed. And I think it would be liquidation rather than administration, because administration would indicate that you have a future income stream so you can carry on trading. The administrator comes in and he offers to pay each debtor 10p in the pound, basically 10% of the debt they're owed. And then the administrator will get the people that the money's owed to agree to that. And then he will very much say, oh, well, next month the money stream comes in, and he'll start to plan when next month's gate receipts, the month after. Make no mistake about it. And here's what gets back to what Alan McInally was saying. I think football's starting to get a little bit more confident that they're going to be able to finish the season, and that football's going to start up very, very soon. I don't think it's going to be very, very soon at all. And I think as and when it does start up, it's going to be a long time that we have any football before the fans are allowed to go into the ground as spectators as well. So whilst that may well appease Sky and BT because they're still getting to televise the matches, it's not going to do anything for the lower league clubs, because the lower league clubs get very little from television. The lower league clubs basically, they rely on the fans coming through the turnstiles. If the fans don't come through the turnstiles, they're not making any money. And I just think that football, when all of this is done, we are going to find ourselves with a lot less football clubs, a lot of players out of work. And what happens then? Supply outdoes demand. Surely the players' wages have got to come down. I don't know. I think it's going to be a long, long time until we see a £200 million footballer. I certainly don't agree with Alan McInally that Manchester United should pay £200 million for a footballer. I think it's crass, and I think it ignores probably the fact that the country will be going into a recession as soon as the next financial quarter is announced.